Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Recaps. Now, usually for this series, I go over the box office results for really any particular month, but because 2020 has been 2020, I've had to make some adjustments. So instead of going over 1 month, we're going over 2 months. So for this recap video, we're going over the months of both October and November of 2020 because the release date schedule has been so dismal. So, with that being said, let's begin. So, we don't have our first real wide release until October 9th with The War with Grandpa. God, this, I'm getting flashbacks just talking about this movie. Now, my prediction video I made for this movie, I was rooting for it to fail. I was rooting for it to die. I thought it would make like $1 million opening weekend, like 3 million total. I was hoping it would fail. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. In fact, I was way off from my prediction. Instead, it made 17 million domestically, 23 million worldwide, which, I mean, by normal standards, that's terrible. But for pandemic standards, this is one of the best results, which just tells you all you need to know. So yeah, the reason why I wanted this movie to fail is because it looked bad. It felt like the type of movie like some old person, some old studio executive would pitch and be like, "All right, we're gonna have Robert De Niro, and he's gonna basically be in this feud with a child, and then that's the movie." And yeah, this feels like a movie from a bygone era, like from the early 2000s. It would have fit nicely in that era, but it's 2020. Things have changed. Like, it's so weird that this movie still exists today, but yeah. And also, old school versus new cool. That tagline alone made me cringe internally. But yeah, it made 17 million. It exceeded my expectations drastically. So yeah, I hate to call this movie a winner, but technically it is, and it breaks my heart. So you know what? Enough about War with Grandpa. I want it out of my sight. Uh, I'm using the 2020 overall calendar here just to go through all the previous movies. So back to October. So after War of Grandpa, we had two movies come out. We had Two Hearts and Honest Thief, and we're gonna go over Two Hearts first. So for my video about Two Hearts, well, first of all, I didn't even know it existed until mere minutes before I made that video. So that's a bad sign. And in that video, I said it would probably make like 1-2 million total. And I was, no, I think it was just 2 million total. It didn't even reach that. It only made it to 1.3 million, essentially, which is just God. Pandemic or no pandemic, that is just the worst type of result. To barely get past $1 million for its entire run. This isn't even opening weekend. This isn't its entire total. That's horrific. That's catastrophic. But really, I'm not surprised by this result. This movie had no marketing, no ad push, no nothing. Again, I didn't even know it existed until the day I made the video. So I'm not really surprised by this result. But if there's one thing to say, is that these romance movies, they really shouldn't be released in theaters right now. I mean, look what happened to Broken Hearts Gallery. And I just saw what happened to All My Life. That did just as bad as this. So, yeah. Just quick note. Stop releasing romance movies now. It's not a good time, obviously. So yeah, that was Two Hearts. hits, but yeah, nobody really cares about it, obviously. All right, something a bit more substantial. Honest Thief. Now, in my prediction video for this movie, I said it would make 8 to 10 million total. I thought it would do okay-ish. Emphasis on the ish. Like it would do better than some movies, but worse than others. But it did all right, all things considered. It made 13 million total, 24 million worldwide. Not as good as a similar movie like say Unhinged that made 20 million domestic. But for the environment it's in, it's better than expected. I'll give it that. It's the second most successful movie of October, which, I mean, that's just, now I'm getting really sad about it because looking at last October, just remembering what happened last October, we had Joker just tearing up the scene. There was, Maleficent 2, nobody cared about that. Zombieland 2, Addams Family reboot, even Gemini Man. Gemini Man feels more like a blockbuster than any movie coming out right now. that's that's saying a whole lot. But yeah, for pandemic standards, Honest Thief did all right. I'll give it a pass. And that's all. It's also good that it did okay-ish because Liam Neeson has another movie coming out in January. So, and it's another action movie. His forte. So there's that. I'll probably have to do a prediction video on that when it comes out. And I know you probably noticed how I've been ignoring a lot of these movies that are like the Nightmare Before Christmas or Monsters Inc. Addams Family. They're just re-releases. I don't cover re-releases unless it's like a really substantial re-release. Like if I were doing these videos back in the 3D re-release era, like with The Lion King and Titanic and all that, I would have made videos on those. But this is like real small scale level in comparison to those. So yeah, I didn't make any videos on it, so I'm not going to talk about them. Next up, we're going back down to the depths here. The Empty Man, a movie that was filmed in 2017, was pretty much collecting dust for 3 years. Its first trailer didn't debut until a week, 7 days before it was supposed to come out. And then it came out to no fanfare. It got horrible reviews, horrible audience reaction, and nobody saw it. So it joins all the other horror movies that came out in 2020, except The Invisible Man and Come Play, I guess. But yeah, this is definitely a loss on every conceivable level. Now, in my prediction video, I actually said it would only make like 2 million total. So it did exceed my predictions ever so slightly. It made 2.9 million total, which really isn't anything to write home about. It's made 3 million total. So, yeah, I knew it would fail. Everyone on planet Earth knew it would fail. It didn't even matter that it was a horror movie coming out in October. The movie looked like crap. It was basically stuck in release date hell for like 3 years. The marketing came ridiculously late, probably because Disney, because this is a Fox movie, and this is one of the movies that Disney acquired. I don't think they wanted to acquire it, but they were kind of just given it. They just, how do I describe it? It's like how, let's just say someone gives you like, I don't know, some clothes, and they just gift wrap you some clothes, and they're like, here, take it, and you're like, I really don't want this. Well, too bad, you're gonna get it. And that's basically what happened here. Disney had it, they didn't want anything to do with it, and they were just like, throw it out there, let it die. It wasn't going to make any money anyway. And that's what happened. So yeah, I'm not surprised about this at all. So yeah, that's The Empty Man. We're moving on. I hate scrolling all the way down here again. Okay, after The Empty Man, Come Play, which was far, 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 far more successful than The Empty Man. Now the thing is, in my prediction video, I said it would make like 3 million total, but I did say it has to make more than The Empty Man, and I was right on that front. But I was completely wrong when it came to its box office, because it actually made 3 million its opening weekend, and it's currently made close to 9 million total. So, I mean, it's far better than my prediction. And the reason why my prediction was so low, because one, like, why would expectations be high in the first place for any movie coming out in this day and age? And two, this came out during Halloween weekend. You're like, Malik, this is a horror movie. How could a horror movie fail on Halloween weekend? Well, because Halloween is a death sentence for many movies, particularly when it lands on a weekend, particularly a Friday or a Saturday. If that happens, the box office dies. It's happened numerous times in the past. So I thought the same thing would happen here. But it didn't. It exceeded my expectations. So good job, Come Play. You didn't completely embarrass yourself. So yeah, that's Come Play, and that's October. That's October. It was weak, but like who I can't even form a sentence at this point. Like, who honestly thought October would be a strong month? Honestly, who? All right, now we're into November. And our first movie in November, well, it was supposed to be Black Widow, but we all know what happened to that. So instead, we have Let Him Go. Now, in my prediction video, I said it would make like, I don't know, 5 million total. I kind of thought that everyone would be too distracted by the election, which was, obviously at the beginning of that month. It exceeded my expectations, made 9 million total. So, yeah. It did better than expected. I thought it would do a lot stronger because it opened to $4 million. I thought it would at least make 10, but things went south real quick with movie theaters. So it kind of cut its legs. But, still 9 million in this age, not bad. Could have been worse. I really didn't think it would do well because its target demographic is the type of group who shouldn't be going out and about in the first place. But I was clearly wrong. So, yeah. It made 9 million. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. Okay, time for the biggest, well, I guess one of the bigger fails when it comes to my predictions in the worst way possible. This wasn't me, underestimating something. This was me overestimating something quite dramatically. And that was Freaky. Freaky, 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 freaky. Oof. I really thought this would do well. This was like the first movie in a long time to be released by a major studio and Universal. I mean, technically, Universal as Focus Features was released. What did they release? Oh yeah, Come Play and Let Him Go. I thought this would do a lot better because it has a major studio backing. It didn't. I thought it would make 15 million total, and apparently this is what the numbers predicted as well. They didn't do a preview article for October. I mean, I can't imagine why. But yeah. Oh yeah, Let Them Go. They predicted 10 million. I predicted 5. They were closer, so they get that. But yeah, we both failed hard with Freaky. We thought it would make 15 million, and it only made 7 million total, half of that, which is really bad. And I believe the reason why this happened was because movie theaters were going down hard the second week of November. There were more restrictions being added in many parts of the country. Theaters were shutting down again, so obviously that would affect its box office results. But yeah, it it wasn't pretty at all. So yeah, this is definitely one of the biggest. In November, it's definitely the biggest disappointment. If I had to pick a biggest disappointment of October, it would be The Empty Man, I guess. But yeah, this is definitely a loser, which is a shame because I've heard the movie is quite good. So it sucks that this movie failed. It really does. After Freaky, there was, well, we're skipping like all these. Well, Santa Claus, Last Mirror, blah, blah. Vanguard. I made a video on Vanguard. I didn't know it was being released theatrically until like a day or so before it was before it came out. So I had to make a video on it. And boy, what a shock. Nobody watched it. I predicted it would make like $1 million. It couldn't even reach that. Couldn't even reach 1 million. That's sad. Now, considering this is a movie that, well, it's a Chinese movie, and the fact that it came out in China like in September, it was supposed to be January, but we all know what was going down in China in January. I don't need to tell you what happened then. But when it came out in September, it still didn't do that great. So if it can't do well in China, what chance does it have in the United States of America? And to no one's shock, it didn't do good. Only made $765,000 total. So yeah, I'm not shocked that this happened. There's really nothing more to say, really. It's like, what else can I say? It bombed. End of story. And then last and certainly not least, not Frozen, not Elf. Although I love Elf. Frozen I liked until it got too much attention and too much everything, and it just bleh. But we're not talking about Frozen, though I wish I was. I mean, last year I talked about Frozen 2 and how that was so big, and then here we are a year later, we're talking about the Croods, A New Age. Man, what a difference a year makes. So in my prediction video, I said it would make 20 million total. Even though the War of Grandpa did better than expected, I didn't expect great things from this either because things were moving in a bad direction with movie theaters, and I thought this movie would get crippled, but it didn't. It has now made 20 million as we speak. It has essentially matched my prediction, my total prediction. This is after like 2 weeks. So, hooray, Croods 2. And I think the numbers, they were a bit higher than me. They were a tad bit more optimistic. Let me look at it. Blah, blah, blah. Skipping Freaky. They predicted 30 million, so they beat me there too. But yeah, it's not, I'm not too surprised. This is actually, I think in terms of pandemic movies, this is at the time of me recording this, the third most successful movie released during this era. I think it will surpass New Mutants to become number two. Number one is Tenet with like 60 million. The fact that 60 million is the best just shows you how awful things have been. But yeah, Universal, they essentially took a gamble. They released this movie, when, let's just say, oh yeah, Soul from Disney Pixar. Soul was supposed to come out around the same time. They said no to that and are now going to release Soul on Disney Plus on Christmas Day. So that left a void for Thanksgiving. So the Croods 2, Universal, they put that movie there. They were hoping to get some money. And they did get some money. Not a whole lot of money, but some money. So, yeah. So I mean, hooray, Croods 2! You are, at the time of me recording this, the third most successful pandemic movie ever. I don't think anything's really gonna beat the Croods 2 at this point in time, except maybe. Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. Wonder Woman 1984, even with the HBO Max thing, that'll probably make more than this. But we'll see. That's it. That's it for October and November. As you saw, the results are quite abysmal, which really isn't surprising because ever since movie theaters have opened up back in August, things have been bad. It's like a it's not even like a normal roller coaster where things start slow, then they increase and then they go down drastically. No, it's just been you start out low and then you go up high with Tenet and then you go down a steep cliff with the rest of the month. And then you just have like this middle ground of like War with Grandpa, Honest Thief, and then you go down with Empty Man, and then you go up a bit again with Come Play, Let 'Em Go, Freaky. Then we go down again with Vanguard, and then up again a lot more with the Croods, A New Age. So it's a very inconsistent roller coaster. And I don't think December and January are going to be any better. I really don't. So what's coming out in December, you may be asking? Well, All My Life and Half Brothers came out to dismal results, as you see. Fatale will come out, a movie I've never heard of before. I think I heard of it once, and then it got delayed, and now it just got plopped here out of nowhere. Then December 25th will be real interesting. We have Monster Hunter, News of the World, Pinocchio, Promising Young Woman, and Wonder Woman 1984. So that'll be a busy time for me to make videos. And then, oh yeah, Connected. What happened to Connected? Is it even going to come out? I don't even know. It disappeared. Which is sad because it looked quite good. And then 2021, January, as we speak, it could always change. January, there's The Devil's Light. You can just ignore Blumhouse production project. I don't think anything's gonna enter that. Wrath of Man, Chaos Walking, Breaking News in Yuba County, The Little Things, which will be the first. Will actually Wonder Woman 1984 will be the first in the HBO Max experiment, putting it on HBO Max and theaters same day. It's caused a lot of controversy. Christopher Nolan destroyed Warner Brothers for this decision, so that's not good. Legendary is threatening to sue Warner Brothers because they put Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune. They included those in their little strategy and they weren't aware of it. It's a mess. An absolute mess. We'll see what happens, but yeah. The next 2 months are going to be very interesting. Well, somewhat interesting. December's going to be far more interesting than January. So, yeah. Other than that, that is it. That is all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out previous recap videos? I got playlists on the homepage. I've done all the pre-pandemic recaps and then the current pandemic double recaps. Last one I did was August and September. Yeah, I'm just thinking about all those I think the only months I've never covered on this channel were March and April. I was gonna do March this year, but we all know what happened to that. So I just decided to cancel that video. But yeah, if you want to check out all the pre-pandemic recaps I've done, go right ahead. I also have two other not recaps, playlist. I got box office predictions where I just predict the results for all these movies, and then with the recap series, I go over all the predictions I made. So you want to check out any of the prediction videos I made this year, go right ahead. I also have the canceled series where I just go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Movies that were either delayed indefinitely, put on streaming services, or just die. They just cease to exist. So you want to check out any of those videos, go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.